I'd now like to hand over to Dawn, our architect, as I said, who's been with us from the start, and Dawn has a presentation. Right, over to you, Dawn.
Over to you, Dawn, with help, I guess. Dawn.
Hi, everyone. Okay, so I'm currently working on the detailed drawings and specification for phase 2, which includes all the remaining building work to bring the project to completion. So as a reminder, for those who've seen them before and obviously new to those who haven't, here are the plans. So this is the ground floor plan with the historic building to the left-hand side, which is, as Steve described, complete. Oh, thank you, there's a mouse moving. And to the right is the auditorium. And then in between, a glass roofed restaurant area, and then the kitchen servery. And the bottom right-hand corner is the garden.
Dawn, can you run your cursor for everybody around the bit that's now...
No, I can't. It's James doing it.
Oh, is it James? Can you run your cursor around the bit that's now complete so everybody's aware of where they went on a tour earlier on?
Oh, yes, of course. Yeah. So this is the older building here. Dawn can explain, I guess.
Yes, so it's the thicker, irregular walls on the left-hand side, up to the point where it then becomes restaurant there, and the toilets are completed as well. And I know it's an odd shaped perimeter wall on the right-hand side, but that will disappear.
Good. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
The whole left of the screen then, effectively. Yeah.
Yeah, and then the next plan is the first floor plan. And so again, you can see the auditorium on the right, and then on the left is the completed studios that you had the walkthrough of earlier. And then in between, you can see the glazed roof element, and then the it's a zinc covered roof over the remaining areas.
Cool.
Oh, sneak preview. So there's been a number of challenges to overcome. The auditorium design has presented particular issues due to the town centre location. There are several houses and flats in close proximity to the site, and we need to ensure that the noise generated by the cinema sound equipment is adequately contained within the building. So specialist acoustic consultants have been commissioned to advise on the required construction to ensure the attenuation levels are achieved. In principle, the auditorium needs to have a solid, heavy shell with a structurally independent insulated lining. This is relatively easy to achieve with the walls, as masonry is a dense material, but the roof needs to be underlined with cement particle board to increase its density, then a separate acoustic ceiling structure. This all adds to the weight of the roof structure and the bearing onto the masonry walls. The heating, cooling and ventilation of the auditorium is also challenging due to its space requirements, and it needs to be housed so as to avoid noise disturbance to those in the auditorium whilst providing the required comfort levels. Our building services engineer is designing the system to meet these criteria. Fire precautions are another essential consideration within the design. We have had advice from both the fire service and our own consultant to make sure the building can satisfy the required standards, both in terms of construction and means of escape. To maximise the size of the auditorium, 2 of the walls are positioned on the boundary to the east and south. Yeah, you might want to just go back to the ground floor plan, James, on the previous one. Yeah, so the east is the top side, yeah, and the south is down the right-hand side. So those are situated right on the boundary. And the gable wall of the now demolished outbuilding was supporting several lean-to buildings on the neighbouring property. Some preparatory work is being undertaken, as Steve described earlier, to provide a new supporting wall separate from the cinema wall. This has enabled the cinema wall to be positioned tight to the boundary whilst keeping the structure separate from the neighbouring buildings. By comparison, the remaining areas, the cafe, restaurants and the kitchen servery, are relatively simple in terms of construction. The large area of roof glazing will incorporate blinds to reduce glare and heat gain in the summer months. And the extract ventilation from the kitchen is being designed to meet the required environmental health, noise and odour control standards. So whilst all of that has needed some creative problem solving, the finished building will provide a great facility. And here's some 3D views of the scheme to give an impression. So yeah, you should be able to see what I was talking about with the plan, with the old building on the left-hand side, the traditional pitched roof, new cinema building with a matching slate pitched roof, and then in between, large area of glazing over the restaurant cafe, and you can just see the servery and then the courtyard garden, yeah, to the right. And the next one, I think it just gives a view, yeah, so you can see down into the garden area and the doors from the cafe. And then the next one just zooms in into the, so you can see down into the restaurant area. So there we have it.
Great. Well, thank you very much, Dawn. Am I right in saying that the intention is that this building will be complete, depending on how successful we are with the fundraising, in early 2022? In other words,
yep,
all of that you showed us with the necessary finances would be there ready to open in about 12 months' time.
Yeah, that's a realistic time frame.
Although, as Steve mentioned earlier on, we do hope to be able to open the bit that's already complete as soon as the regulations allow us this spring.